How to see old problems in a new way with beginner's mind. Chapter 1. Introduction. Here is the profound truth about beginner's mind. It is not about knowing less. It is about holding your knowledge lightly enough that you can discover more. There is a famous story in Zen Buddhism about a university professor who came to visit a renowned tea master to learn about Zen. The professor was brilliant, highly educated, and considered himself quite knowledgeable about Eastern philosophy. As the tea master began to pour tea into the professor's cup, he continued pouring even after the cup was full. Tea spilled over the edges, across the table, and onto the floor. The professor could not contain himself and shouted, "Stop! The cup is already full." The tea master smiled and said, "Yes. And like this cup, you are full of your own ideas and opinions. How can I teach you about Zen until you first empty your cup?" This story illustrates one of the most powerful concepts in Zen Buddhism, Shoshin, which translates as beginner's mind. But here is what most people get wrong about a beginner's mind. It is not about being naive or ignorant. It is about the strategic practice of temporarily setting aside your expertise to see possibilities that your knowledge might be blocking. Chapter 2. The Hidden Prison of Expertise. Let me share something that might surprise you. The more expert you become in any field, the more likely you are to miss breakthrough solutions to problems. Psychologists call this functional fixedness, the inability to see new uses for familiar tools or new approaches to familiar problems. But the Buddha identified this pattern 2,500 years earlier. He noticed that our accumulated knowledge and experience, while valuable, can become what he called mental formations that limit our perception. We see what we expect to see based on what we already know. Here is a modern example. Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975, but they could not see its potential because their expertise was in film photography. Their knowledge became their limitation. Blockbuster could not adapt to streaming because their expertise was in physical video rental stores. Their experience became their blindness. In Zen tradition, they have a saying, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few." This is not anti-intellectual. It is recognizing that sometimes your knowledge can become a cage that prevents you from seeing what is actually possible. Chapter 3. The 3 levels of beginner's mind. Traditional Zen teaching identifies 3 distinct levels of Shoshin, and understanding all 3 can revolutionize how you approach challenges. The first level is empty knowing, temporarily setting aside what you think you know about a situation. This is not permanent ignorance, it is strategic ignorance. You are choosing to see a situation as if encountering it for the first time. The second level is fresh eyes, approaching familiar situations with genuine curiosity rather than automatic assumptions. Instead of thinking, "I know how this works," you ask, "I wonder what I might discover about this situation if I looked at it differently." The third and most advanced level is what the masters call don't know mind, a comfortable relationship with uncertainty that allows you to remain open to possibilities you have not yet imagined. Here is what fascinates me about this. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Zen masters intuited centuries ago. When you approach something with genuine curiosity and openness, your brain literally forms new neural pathways. You are not just thinking differently, you are rewiring your capacity to see possibilities. Chapter 4. Why successful people struggle with beginner's mind. Now, if you are a high achiever, this concept might feel threatening. After all, you have spent years, maybe decades, building expertise. Your knowledge is valuable. Your experience gives you a competitive advantage. Why would you want to temporarily set that aside? Here is the insight that changed everything for me. Beginner's mind is not about abandoning your expertise. It is about adding flexibility to your expertise. It is about being able to toggle between expert mode and explorer mode, depending on what the situation requires. Think about it this way. If you are a master chef, your culinary knowledge is invaluable. But if you never experimented with new ingredients or techniques, if you only cooked dishes you had made 1,000 times before, your cuisine would eventually become stale and predictable. Beginner's mind allows you to use your expertise as a foundation, not a limitation. You can leverage your knowledge while remaining open to discoveries that transcend what you currently know. Chapter 5. The Paradox of Strategic Ignorance. Here is something that might blow your mind. In Zen Buddhism, there is a concept called great doubt, the recognition that the more you know, the more you should question your assumptions. This is not skepticism for its own sake. It is wisdom-based humility. The most innovative people in any field understand this paradox. Steve Jobs was famous for approaching every product as if Apple was creating it for the first time. What would we do if we had never made a phone before? This question led to the iPhone, a product that redefined an entire industry. Einstein called it intellectual humility. He said his greatest discoveries came not from what he knew, but from his willingness to question what everyone, including himself, assumed to be true. In Buddhist terms, this is the difference between knowing about and direct knowing. You might know everything about swimming by reading books, but until you get in the water with fresh curiosity, you cannot truly understand water. Chapter 6. 3 Practical Applications. Let me give you 3 specific ways to apply a beginner's mind to modern challenges. First, for problem solving. When you are stuck on a business challenge, try what I call alien anthropology. Imagine you are a visitor from another planet trying to understand this situation for the first time. What would you notice that insiders take for granted? What assumptions are so basic that nobody questions them? Second, for revitalizing relationships. If you have a relationship that feels predictable or stale, whether with a spouse, colleague, or friend, try approaching that person as if you were meeting them for the first time. What would you be curious about? What would you want to discover? Often we stop truly seeing people because we think we already know everything about them. Third, for rekindling passion in long-term projects. If you have been working on something for months or years and you have lost enthusiasm, ask yourself, if I encountered this project for the first time today, what would excite me about it? What possibilities would I see? Sometimes familiarity breeds not contempt, but blindness to potential. Chapter 7. A simple practice you can try right now. Here is a beginner's mind technique you can experiment with immediately. Choose one routine activity you do every day: making coffee, driving to work, checking email. For 1 week, approach that activity as if you were doing it for the very first time. If it is making coffee, notice things you have stopped paying attention to. The sound of the grinder, the smell of the beans, the way steam rises from the cup? Ask yourself questions a beginner would ask. Why do I make coffee this particular way? What would happen if I changed one small element? This might sound trivial, but here's what happens. When you bring beginner's mind to small, routine activities, you strengthen your capacity to bring fresh perspective to bigger challenges. It is like going to the gym for your curiosity muscles. Chapter 8. Breaking out of expert thinking. The beautiful thing about beginner's mind is that it does not require you to actually become a beginner. It requires you to be strategic about when to leverage your expertise and when to temporarily set it aside in service of discovery. If you want to develop this breakthrough thinking ability systematically, I have created the Beginner's Mind Problem-Solving Cheat Sheet, a powerful collection of strategic questions that instantly shift you from stuck to innovative. This is not generic brainstorming advice. This targeted toolkit helps you break through expert blind spots that are keeping you stuck on problems you should be able to solve. Approach familiar challenges with a fresh perspective that leads to breakthrough solutions. Revitalize stale relationships by discovering new dimensions in people you thought you knew completely. Reignite passion for long-term projects by seeing hidden possibilities you have been missing. The cheat sheet includes specific question sequences for different scenarios, whether you are facing a business challenge, trying to improve a relationship, or feeling burned out on a project you used to love. Think of it as your personal perspective reset tool that you can use whenever your expertise starts feeling like a limitation rather than an asset. Comment yes to get Beginner's Mind Problem-Solving Cheat Sheet for free. The questions are designed to interrupt your automatic thinking patterns and open up possibilities you might not have considered. It is a simple but powerful tool for anyone who wants to add flexibility and innovation to their expertise. Chapter 9. The Zen of Strategic Ignorance. In traditional Zen training, advanced students are often given the same basic exercises as beginners, not because they have forgotten the fundamentals, but because each time they approach these exercises, their deeper understanding allows them to discover new layers of meaning. Your expertise is valuable. Your experience matters. But your willingness to occasionally see with fresh eyes, that is where breakthrough insights live. The master's mind can solve problems efficiently within existing frameworks. The beginner's mind can discover entirely new frameworks that make old problems obsolete. In our rapidly changing world, the ability to toggle between mastery and fresh curiosity is not just useful, it is essential. Markets change, technologies evolve, and relationships deepen. The expertise that got you here might not get you where you want to go next. But the combination of your hard-won knowledge and your willingness to see with beginner's eyes, that combination is unstoppable. Remember, you do not have to choose between being an expert and maintaining a beginner's mind. The goal is to be an expert who can think like a beginner when the situation calls for it. As the Zen saying goes, the expert is someone who knows more and more about less and less. The wise person is someone who maintains the wonder of knowing nothing about everything. If this perspective opens up new possibilities for you, I would love to hear about your experiments with beginner's mind in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, consider subscribing for more practical wisdom that can bring fresh insight and renewed energy to your work and relationships. Until next time, may your cup always have room for something new.